Excuse me, folks. We're a little bit short-staffed right now, and we just don't have time for having sex on duty. We need officers on the floor. We have officers that need assistance. You'll have to refrain, please, from having sex while on duty. Hi, I'm Gary York, True Prison Stories. Please subscribe if you like this video. In Belgium, at the Prison de Latin, a minimum custody or minimum security prison that has mainly male inmates but some female inmates, there's a big investigation going on with 10 of their prison officers. An inquiry, said the governor. Well, here's what's happening, and I'll talk to you about some cases I've done that kind of similar, not as large scale as this one though. In Belgium, there was an allegation put forth that there's 10 officers at this prison and they're having orgies off duty at one of the officers' jacuzzis, and they wear colored armbands or draw armbands to see who's going to have sex with who. Kind of a 70s type orgy swing party. Well, off duty, do what the heck you want. That's my thought. Do what you want off duty. To me, you still represent the agency 24/7, but hey, I can't tell you who and how many people you're going to have sex with. But once you get behind the wall at work, it's a whole different story. The allegation is saying that they're also having sex on duty at work, and the officer who owns the jacuzzi, the male officer, where they have the alleged orgies, it says in the article, folks, I'm not there, that he was caught or is known or alleged to be having sex with female inmates in the women's section. So they moved him away to a different location to prevent that. Probably because they couldn't prove it, I would hope. That's the reason, not knowing he's doing it and allowing him to stay there, so they moved him. One of the female officers is alleged to come to work as early as 6 a.m. at the beginning of shift and say, hey, I can't make it through the day without sex. One of you is going to have to sex me up. Now, she denies that, and they won't show a picture of her face like we do in America. You know, we put the mugshot right there for you. I guess over there in Belgium, they figured, let's wait till the inquiry is over. But she's denying it. But one thing she can't deny, she had come to the prison for a year before being an officer, visiting her brother who is in that prison for murder. And she got hired as an officer. I'm beginning to wonder if Belgian prison system, hiring system, they're not responsible for their own problems. You know, when I looked at this story, I saw other related stories. Well, like everywhere, there's problems going on, but this place is really off the chain. So I'm beginning to wonder if their background investigation and the way they hire, how could you miss that? How could you hire someone who's been coming to a prison, visiting there for a year? How could you miss that she has a brother working, incarcerated at the prison? I'm kind of thinking they're building their own problems by not doing a good check. It's also said that she was called the nymphomaniac of the shift. You know, we'll give a little credit and say let the investigation take its course, but it's not looking real good for these folks. I've investigated sex on duty cases where an officer and two officers hook up and get it on in the control room, get it on in the caustics room. I've had a case oral sex, you know, in the officer station. It happens. We had a big one with Secretary of the Department of Corrections in Florida. He went to prison for embezzlement, okay? Not for sex, but there's a lot of allegations of him traveling around to different regions, and they have regional parties, and afterwards there was orgies and such. But you know, that's not what he went to prison for. He went to prison for embezzlement. I've had cases where male officers are fighting over a female officer. Female officers fighting in the parking lot over a male officer. Folks, keep all this junk at home, and I really wish you wouldn't even do it there, because you represent the agency 24/7. It's just crazy. There's no excuse for it. I don't know. I guess you work more hours with your coworkers in corrections than you are at home. Okay, you're working a 12-hour shift, and then you have to mandatory 4 hours to stay over. That's 16 hours. You finish your time, and you got 2 days off, but they're going to make one of those 2 days off mandatory overtime. So now you're 6 out of 7 days with your coworkers, spending a lot of time with them. And danger lurks in the world of human behavior and sexual relations. You have to be a professional. You have to put that badge on and be ethical and come to work and do the job of being a correctional officer, not having sex on duty. This place in Belgium, that's a wild one. You know, if can't refrain, they're doing it off duty, okay, and come to work and still can't refrain. All 10 officers involved in this alleged sex relations at work and orgies after work, they're all under investigation now. This girl who is alleged to be the nymphomaniac, whose brother is incarcerated at that prison, she works at, denies all allegations. She said this has ruined her life and stained her career forever. Well, you should have never been hired in the first place. That's what I would tell her. I don't know how they handle things over there, but if I was interviewing her at the end of the interview, I'd say, well, look, no matter what happens with this allegation, you should have never been hired in the first place. I'd love to see the application to be a correctional officer in Belgium at the Prison de Latin. I'm sure it had on there, do you know anybody in the prison? Have you been to this prison? I would hope. If not, they need to revise their application form. They're letting a lot of bad apples slip through. Crazy world, folks, crazy world. Officers having sex behind bars when they're supposed to be at work. Listen, we're short-staffed. We haven't got time to play games. You're tainting the image of the good correctional officers. Stop it. Play your games when you're off duty if you must. But even off duty, be careful, because things you do off duty will come back to haunt you and hit the media. And then your prison administration is mandated. I know in Florida you're mandated to investigate it. You're mandated to send it to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement so they can review your correctional officer certification and possibilities of terminating your certification. And in many cases, you're mandated to send it to the state attorney's office if there are any criminal allegations. Come on, man. Straighten up. Wear the badge proudly. Let's do this thing right, folks. Thank you very much. Gary York, True Prison Story.